Hello, you are welcome to our chemistry class. And in chemistry, we shall be looking at the topic electrolysis and Faraday's laws. And so the first thing we look at is, what does electrolysis mean? When you hear electrolysis, what should come to our mind is electrolytes. And here we have electrolytes inside a container. And in the container, we have two rods. Those rods are the electrodes, and then we have a circuit with a battery here and a bulb. And so what happens is that this electrolyte, if it is a good electrolyte, it will allow the flow of electron through this circuit, and it will bring about the turning on of this bulb. Now electrons are being passed from this anode, which is the positive pole, and then it moves through the circuit, and then it enters into the pole again through this cathode, and then back into the electrolytes, and it keeps going round like that. But current flows in the opposite direction. The process whereby these electrons are moving around this circuit, and the process by which current flows around this circuit, and we have chemical decomposition at this electrode, is what we refer to as electrolysis. So what we are saying now is that electrons move from the anode to the cathode in this direction, whereas current moves from this cathode to the anode. Now as that is going on, there will be a decrease in mass at this anode, while there will be an increase in mass at this cathode due to the composition of the electrode. Electrolysis is defined as the passage of current through this solution of electrolytes, resulting in chemical decomposition. And we should take note that at this anode, oxidation reaction occurs. For you to understand more about oxidation reaction, you need to check our chemistry class on redox reaction. And then at the cathode, reduction occurs. What are these electrolytes? Electrolytes are solutions of acids, bases, salts, or substances in molten states that can conduct electricity. So these electrolytes, if it can conduct electricity, will allow the passage of current. We have several types of electrolytes. We have strong electrolytes, we have weak electrolytes, we have poor or non-electrolytes. Example of the strong electrolytes, we have the hydrochloric acid, we have tetraoxosulfate 6 acid, we have sodium hydroxide. Those are examples. Other examples are calcium hydroxide. These are examples of strong electrolytes. Examples of weak electrolytes, we have ethanol, triazocarbonate 4 acid, we have NH4OH. All these are examples of weak. So these are strong electrolytes, and we have weak over here. Then example of non-electrolytes, we have sugar, urea. They are examples of weak electrolytes that even when they are dissolved in water, they will not permit the flow of current. And these electrodes are conductors, and we said that at this anode, oxidation occurs here, and at this pole, which is the anode is the positive pole, electron enters into the circuit through this place, whereas current enters into it through this place. Next, we'll look at Faraday's first law of electrolysis. It states that the mass of a substance deposited at the electrodes during electrolysis is directly proportional to the quantity of electricity passing through the electrolytes. We have it that mass is directly proportional to the quantity of electricity that is passing through. When this proportionality sign is removed, it is replaced with ZQ. You could use any alphabet to replace it, but it is generally accepted to use Z, where Z is a chemical equivalent or a constant. M stands for the mass deposited at the electrode. So we have Q as the quantity of charge. The unit of charge is in coulomb. The unit of mass is in kilogram, and then the chemical equivalent is in kilogram per coulomb. Now we also have it that Q itself equal to current times time, IT. And so we could have it that M equal to ZIT. That is, when we replace Q with IT, we have it as M equals to ZIT. So let us take some examples of Faraday's first law. Calculate the mass of silver deposited when 0.2 ampere of electricity is passed through a silver chloride solution for 2 hours. Given that the chemical equivalent of silver is 0.000098 gram per coulomb. Okay, so we have it that we should calculate the mass that is deposited when we have a current of 0.2 ampere of electricity, which is passed for 2 hours, and we have a chemical equivalent which is 0.000098 gram per coulomb. First is we need to have 2 hours in seconds, which is 2 times 3600, and that gives us 7200 seconds. Now we have it that mass equal to ZIT. Z is 0.000098 multiplied by the current, which is 0.2 times 7200, and when we multiply this, it gives 0.1411 gram. Hence, the mass that is deposited at the electrode, most especially the cathode, is 0.1411 gram. Here's the second question. We have to calculate the chemical equivalent of copper, given that 0.5 ampere of electricity passes through a copper tetraoxosulfate 6 solution for 10 minutes, depositing 0.04 gram of copper. So here we are to look for the chemical equivalent, given that the current of 0.5 ampere passed through the circuit for a period of 10 minutes, and we have a mass of 0.04 gram being deposited. So first is we'll convert the 10 minutes into seconds, and that will be 10 times 60, which is 600 seconds. Our formula here is M equal to ZIT. So looking for Z, which is the chemical equivalent, equal to M over IT. So our M is 0.04 and our current is 0.5 times time, which is 600 seconds. And when we multiply all this out, we'll have 0.00013 gram per coulomb as the chemical equivalent. Next, we look at Faraday's second law of electrolysis. The second law states that when the same quantity of electricity is passed through solutions of different electrolytes, the relative number of moles of elements deposited is inversely proportional to their respective charge. So in this case, we are saying that when the same quantity of electricity is passed through solutions of the electrolytes, the relative number of moles of element deposited is inversely proportional to the charge. Now, for us to solve this, we do not really use this equation. Now, what does this mean? It means that, for instance, if you have a solution or an electrolyte of copper sulfate, here the copper sulfate can be dissociated into Cu2 plus and SO4 2 minus. Now, the charge on this copper is 2 plus. The number of moles of elements that will be deposited on the electrode is determined by the charge on the elements, this or this. So this is what we mean. Now, this is 1 mole of copper, and this 1 mole of copper has relative atomic mass of 64 grams, and it has a charge of 2 plus, and this charge is also equal to 2F, that is 2 Faraday. It is 2 because we have 2 as the charge and then 1 Faraday, so 2 times 1, and it's also equal to 2 times 96,000 96,500 coulomb. So 1 Faraday is 96,500 coulomb. So this is the relationship between the mole, relative molecular mass, the charge, the Faraday, and the actual charge. Others, for instance, if you have 1 mole of silver is equal to 108 grams of the silver, and 108 grams of silver is equal to 1 Faraday, and 1 Faraday is equal to 96,500 coulomb. Another one is if you have 2 moles of oxygen molecule. Now 2 moles of oxygen molecule. First, we should note that oxygen is 2 minus. That's an atom of oxygen is 2 minus. So this oxygen atom like this. Now this one oxygen atom is 16 grams, and that is 2 Faraday, and that is 2 times 96,500. But when we have a molecule of oxygen, which is O2, 2 minus, it will become 2 times 16 grams, which is now going to be, this is 2 and 2, that's 2 times 2, that's 4. So we have 4 Faraday equal to 4 times 96,500. And when we have 2 moles of this now, 2 moles of oxygen molecule, that would give us, here it was 2 times 16, it will now be 4 times 16 gram, which is 4 Faraday, which will now be 8 Faraday, and that is 8 times 96,500 coulomb. We need to build this relationship very well. Okay, let's take another one. If you have 1 mole of chlorine atom, here we are talking about just the atom of chlorine. We did not say a molecule of chlorine. So 1 mole of chlorine equal to 35.5 gram, which is equal to 1 Faraday, and that is 96,500 coulomb. And so we shall solve some questions under this Faraday's second law of electrolysis. Alright, so let's take our first question. Calculate the mass of copper formed when 965 coulomb of electricity passes through a copper 2 tetraoxo sulfate 6 solution. Now in this question, we are looking for the mass of copper that was deposited at the cathode. We have copper having an oxidation number of 2 plus. That means that 1 mole of copper having an oxidation number of 2 plus. And if copper is to be deposited at the cathode, it would have added, will add 2 electrons to it to have copper solid, which is deposited. So with this, we have that, and so this is the equation of the reaction that occurs. Now with this, we have 1 mole of copper, which is equal to 64 gram, and that is equal to 2 Faraday, that's 2 times 96,500 coulomb. Now we are told to find the mass of copper deposited when we have 965 coulomb. How many grams of copper will be formed? So we'll cross multiply. X multiplies all this. So that's X times 2 times 96,500 equal to 64 times 965. X equal to 64 times 965 over 2 times 96,500. So when we multiply all this, it will give 0.32 grams of copper. So this is the mass of copper that will be deposited at the electrode with 965 coulomb of electricity. Calculate the quantity of electricity required to form 10.8 gram of silver by the electrolysis of silver triazonitrate 5 solution. Now we are looking for the silver metal. Now we told that calculate the quantity of electricity required to form 10.8 gram of silver. Now the equation of this reaction is, we have silver which has 1 ion, that is a cation. It is positively charged, and so it gains 1 electron to become a silver metal, and it is deposited. We have just 1 mole of silver equal to 108 gram, and that is also equal to 2 times 96,500 coulomb. Now we are told to find the quantity of electricity that is required to form 10.8. So to have 10.8 gram, how many coulomb of electricity is required? When we cross multiply it, we will have 108 times x equal to 10.8 times 2 times 96,500. X will be 10.8 times 2 times 96,500 over 108. Hence, x will be 9,650 coulomb of electricity. That is what is required to form 10.8 gram. Next question says, for how long must a current of 0.5 ampere be passed through a solution of silver triazonitrate 5 solution to deposit 0.01 mole of silver? And so first we'll have the equation of the reaction. We have silver, which has one positive ion. It gains one electron to become a silver solid. So with this, we have that 1 mole of silver is equal to 108 grams, and that is also equal to 96,500 coulomb, since we have just 1 Faraday. Here is 1 Faraday. Alright, so when we have 0.01 mole of silver, what is the quantity of electricity that will be required to form it? And so when we cross multiply, 0.01 multiplies 96,500. So 0.01 times 96,500 equal to 1 multiplies x, and that's x. And so when we multiply this, x equal to 965. So that is the quantity of electricity. Now we are asked to calculate how long, that's the time. So if our Q equal to IT and Q is 965 with a current of 0.5 ampere, how many seconds would that be? So T equal to 965 divided by 0.5, and that produces 1,930 seconds. That's the time that is required to form it. Next question says 5.04 gram of silver was deposited when 0.5 ampere of electricity flows through a silver triazonitrate 5 solution for 2 hours 30 minutes. Calculate the relative atomic mass of silver. So in this question, we have that a current of 0.5 ampere flows through the solution for a time of 2 hours 30 minutes. So first is we'll calculate the quantity of electricity produced. Hence Q equal to IT. Now, to get our time, we'll convert this from 2 hours 30 minutes into seconds. 2 hours converted to seconds will give 7,200, because that will be 2 times 3,600, plus 30 minutes converted to seconds, that will be 30 times 60, and that gives 1,800. So all these are seconds. So when we add this together, we have 9,000 seconds. And so with this, we will now have it that our current is 0.5 multiplied by the time, that is 9,000. And so when we multiply this, we'll have 4,500 coulomb as the quantity of electricity. Next, from the question, we were told that 5.04 gram was deposited as a result of this quantity of electricity. So we have that 5.04 grams was deposited as a result of 4,500 coulomb. We were told to look for the relative atomic mass of silver. And how is that done? We'll get to know that because 1 mole of silver equal to 96500, and that is equal to the relative atomic mass of silver. So for us to get that, we will say that 96,500 coulomb will produce the relative atomic mass, which in this case we do not know. And so when we cross multiply it, we will have x multiplied by 4,500 equal to 5.04 times 96,500. So x equal to 5.04 times 96,500 over 4,500. And so when we multiply this, we'll have 108.08 gram of silver. Hence, this is the relative atomic mass of silver. Next, calculate the mass of silver deposited by electrolysis from a solution of silver trioxonitrate 5 placed in series with a copper tetraoxosulfate 6 solution, when 0.08 gram of copper are deposited on the copper plates. This particular question is a good representation of Faraday's second law of electrolysis. Here we have two electrolytes which are placed in series with one another. Now, in one of the electrolytes, we have to calculate the mass of silver deposited, but in the first one, we were told the mass of the copper which was deposited. The same quantity of electricity passed through the two of them. So when electricity passed through copper, it produces 0.8 gram. And when that same electricity passed through the second one, it will produce its own mass based on the charge on the element. So let us take it first like this. We need to get the equation of the reaction. The first one, we have copper 2 plus. It gains 2 electrons, and we have our copper solid which is deposited. And then we have silver. Silver is plus 1 electron, and that produces Ag solid. Now this equation needs to be balanced in the sense that we have 2 electrons over here, and these 2 electrons will reflect on the silver because of the quantity of electricity. So the same quantity of electricity passed from this first one to the second one to deposit its own mass. And so since this is already 2 electrons, we have to multiply this by 2. And so this produces 2 here, 2 over here, and we have 2 here. Next, we need to determine the quantity of electricity that deposited 0.08 gram of copper. Now we know that from this equation we have just 1 mole of copper which produces 64 gram, and that is equal to 2 Faraday because we have 2 electrons to fit, and that is also 2 times 96,500 coulomb. 0.08 gram of copper was deposited, and it will require how many coulomb of electricity? And so we would cross multiply. This multiplies this, that is 64 times x equal to 0.08 times 2 times 96,500. And so x equal to 0.08 times 2 times 96,500 over 64. Now when we multiply this out, it gives 241.25 coulomb of electricity. That is the quantity of electricity that also passes to the silver trioxonitrate solution. So we have it here that for silver solution, we have 2 moles of silver. So 2 moles of silver from this reaction over here. And for 1 mole of silver, we have 108 gram. But in this case, we have 2 moles. So we have 2 times 108 grams equal to 2 Faraday is produced. So that will be 2 times 96,500. So next is that we are going to bring in here that since 2 times 108 requires 2 times 96,500 coulomb of electricity, how many grams will be deposited if 241.25 coulomb passes through it? So we have it at x equal to, so we cross multiply, and so we have 2 times 108 times 241 times 25 divided by 2 times 96,500. When we multiply all this out, we will have 0.27 gram of silver. That is the mass of silver that is deposited when 241.25 coulomb of electricity passes through it. which says that in the electrolysis of a solution of copper 2 tetraoxosulfate 6 solution using copper electrodes, a current of 0.3 ampere flows for 20 minutes. The initial mass of the anode was 20.90 gram. The initial mass of the cathode was 25 gram. Calculate the final mass of the anode cathode. Now this question, if you have a setup as such, where this is the anode and this is the cathode. At the cathode, there is an increase, while at the cathode, there is a reduction. It loses some mass, which is added to the cathode. And so because of that, the reaction that occurs at the anode is an oxidation reaction, whereby the copper loses electron. So we have the copper losing 2 electrons to become Cu2+, and this is called oxidation. Whereas at the cathode, the copper ion gains 2 electrons to become copper solid, and that is a reduction reaction. So what we are saying now is that whatever mass is being gotten from here, it is added to the initial mass at the cathode. We're told that a current of 0.3 ampere flows for 20 minutes. So we have that quantity of electricity equal to IT, where our I is 0.3 multiplied by time of 20 minutes, but change to seconds. So we have times 60. So when we multiply all this, we would have 360 coulomb. So that is the quantity of electricity that passed through the electrolytes. Now from here, from this reaction here, we have 1 mole of copper is equal to 64 gram when 2 Faraday, which is 2 times 96,500 coulomb of electricity passed through it. Hence, if 360 coulomb of electricity passed through it, what is the mass of copper that will be produced or deposited? And so we are relating the mass to this. So we have that x equal to 64 times 360 over 2 times 96,500. And so this will produce 0.12 gram. Hence, this is the mass that will be deposited. And where is it deposited? It will be deposited at the cathode. And in this question, we're told that the initial mass at anode equal to 20.90, while at the cathode, the initial mass was 25 grams. So if this is the case, we are saying there is a decrease of mass at the anode, which is minus 0.12, while there's an increase at the cathode, that is plus 0.12. Hence, the final mass at the anode is 20.78 grams, while at the cathode, the final mass is 25.12 grams. During the electrolysis of copper 2 tetraoxosulfate 6 solution using platinum electrode, 0.16 gram of copper was deposited on the cathode. Calculate the volume of oxygen gas liberated at standard temperature and pressure. Now this is also simple, and this is how we go about this. First, at the cathode where reduction occurs, we have our copper. It gains 2 electrons to become copper solid, whereas at the anode where oxidation occurs, so we have oxidation here and we have reduction over here. Aside other things, the negative radical OH minus is decomposed into water and oxygen gas, giving off electrons. And so the next thing is that we need to balance this out. We have 2 of hydrogen here, we have 1 here. We have 2 oxygen and we have 1 oxygen here. And so if we put 2 here, we have 2 of oxygen and we have 2 of oxygen, making 4. And so if we put 4 over here, next thing is that if this is to happen, 4 electrons must have been given off in the process. So oxygen as the gas and water as a liquid, and then we have the electron which was also discharged. Therefore, owing to the fact that we have 4 electrons here, In order to balance the charge, because the quantity of electricity passes through this particular circuit, we need to multiply this by 2, because just to balance the 4 electrons we have here. And so this reaction at the cathode becomes 2Cu2 plus 4E minus to give 2 of copper solid. Now that has balanced this equation. Next is that we were told that 0.16 gram of copper was deposited on the cathode. What is the quantity of electricity that produced that? From this reaction, we can deduce that 2 moles of copper equal to 2 of the relative atomic mass of copper, which is 64. We have 2 times 64 grams of copper, and here we have 4 Faraday of copper, which is 4 times 96,500 coulomb. Now we are going to relate the mass with the quantity of electricity. From the question, we have 0.16 gram of copper. It will require how many coulomb of electricity? And so we have this 0.16 to multiply this, and x to multiply this. So we have x equal to 0.16 times 4 times 96,500 over 2 times 64. And when we multiply this out, we would end up having 482.5 coulomb of electricity. That is what it produces. Next, when we look at this equation properly, we were told that oxygen gas was produced, and we are aware that 1 mole of oxygen gas which was produced here is equal to 16 times 2, because 1 atom of oxygen is 16. Hence, 2 atoms of oxygen is 16 times 2, and that's 32. Since we have 4 Faraday here, we relate it with 4 Faraday, and this also is equal to 22.4 dm cubed. I know you are considering the introduction of this volume. We are introducing it because that is what we are asked to find, and we know that this 22.4 dm cubed is known as molar volume, because 1 mole of any gas at standard temperature and pressure equal to 22.4 dm cubed. Now from here, what we need to relate now is this volume and 4 Faraday. Now we know that 1 Faraday is 96,500 coulomb, right? So 4 Faraday equal to 22.4 dm cubed. If we have 482.5 coulomb, what is the volume of gas that this coulomb of electricity will produce? And so when we cross multiply this, we have x times 4 times 96,500 equal to 224 times 482.5. Hence, x equal to 22.4 times 482.5 over 4 times 96,500. Hence, the volume of gas that will be produced is 0.028 dm cubed at standard temperature and pressure. Next, we have that a metal of relative atomic mass 27 gram was deposited by electrolysis. If 0.176 gram of the metal was deposited on the cathode when a current of 0.15 ampere flows for 3.5 hours, what is the charge on the cathode of this metal? And so in this question, we have to determine the charge, and the charge is more like looking for the oxidation number on the metal. So first, we will find the quantity of current which produced the 27 gram. And so we have Q equal to IT. We were given our time as 3.5 hours. And so we'll have it at, changing this 3.5 hours to second, we'll need us to multiply by 3,600. And so we'll have 3.5 times 3,600. In case you are asking how we are getting the 3,600, changing 1 minute to second is 60 seconds, and changing 60 minutes, and then changing 1 hour to minutes is 60 minutes. Hence, change from 1 hour to seconds is multiplying by 60 and 60, and that is 3,600. That's how we got the 3,600. And so when we multiply this out, that produces 12,600 seconds. The quantity of electricity, we have a current of 0.15 ampere multiplied by 12,600 seconds, and that will yield 1,890 coulomb. That is the quantity of electricity. Now we're told that 0.176 gram of metal was deposited on the cathode as a result of this quantity of electricity. Therefore, so we have it that 0.176 gram of metal was produced as a result of 1,890 coulomb of electricity. How many grams of the metal will be produced by 96,500 coulomb, which is 1 Faraday? When we cross multiply this, that's x multiplies 1,890, we have x will be equal to, so, and then x multiplies 1,890 and 0.176 multiplies 96,500. So making x the subject, we'll have 0.176 times 96,500 divided by 1890. Hence, the value of x equal to 8.986 gram. Now that is what will be produced. Now in the question we're told that a metal has a relative atomic mass of 27. So 27 gram is its relative atomic mass. We have x equal to 0.986 gram. From here, it means that 1 mole of metal is equal to 1 Faraday, and that is 96,500. And in this case, 8.986 gram. That is what that means. But in the question, we were told that the relative atomic mass of the metal is 27. And so we have it that 27 grams will produce how many Faraday? Taking note that the Faraday represents the number of moles of electrons. This is 1 electron and Faraday. So how many electrons are we going to have? So we are relating mass to the Faraday. When we cross multiply, that is x times 8.986 equal to 1 times 27. We have x equal to 27 over 8.986. We have approximately 3. So we are saying now that 3 Faraday is what was gotten. And this 3 Faraday is also equal to 3 moles of the metal. Hence, the charge on the metal equal to plus 3. That is the final answer.